name is Robbie and welcome to my little workshop which I'll be using as a studio for this mini-series. This is a place where I go where I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's a place where I can escape, where I can just forget about my health concerns and just be creative. I was diagnosed with stage 3 bowel cancer on the 20th of May 2022 after a long period of several health concerns that I ignored. I was an idiot. I ignored my own health problems. I was diagnosed with stage 3 bowel cancer, as I said. It was found during a colonoscopy, my first ever colonoscopy. I do have a family history of bowel cancer. So that's not really a component that contributed towards it. We did a genetic test. I don't have the genes. It was simply a spontaneous mutation. During the colonoscopy, they found 2 large polyps as well as a 61mm tumor that was located in my lower bowel / rectal area. Following this discovery, I was referred to a specialist colorectal surgeon who took over my management of my situation. I started off with 25 high-strength radiation sessions that was spread over a 6 weeks period. As well as doing the 25 sessions of radiation, I also had to have chemotherapy tablets, which we'll talk about later on. Following the radiation, I then had a 3-month period where I did fortnightly chemotherapy sessions in hospital, where I would spend an entire day, usually 7 to 8 hours, with these tubes of medication going into my port, which I still have at the moment. And then I would go home with a pump pack for 48 hours, where I would return on the Friday afternoon, where they would disconnect me. So far during the 2-year period, I've had 3 colonoscopies, 14 lots of x-rays, 11 CT with the contrast, which tastes disgusting, and I've also had 9 MRIs. Apart from the colonoscopies, I've also had 2 major surgeries, both involving bowel resections. So that's where they take out a section off your bowel that is affected by the cancer. The first surgery was a scheduled surgery after the radiation and the chemo. The second surgery was a emergency surgery. My body did not recover well from the initial resection. I actually started to reject everything that the surgeon had previously done, to the point where everything inside of me turned necrotic and was rotting away. So it was pretty scary. So basically I've had roughly about 1 meter of my bowel removed, including the rectum and my anus. I don't go to the toilet normally anymore. Since the 3rd of January last year, so 2023, I never have to sit on a toilet for the rest of my life. The reason for that is, the routine surgery in the November of 2022, I had a ileostomy created, but because of the complications that I just mentioned, during the emergency surgery, there was a decision made where I would need to have a permanent colostomy. So that is what this one is on the left. So ileostomy on the right, colostomy on the left. I need to change these bags every second day. It is fairly easy to manage. I need to be careful of the foods that I eat. There are certain things I cannot eat, and there are certain things that I do need to eat in order to maintain proper function, but we'll talk about that further in the series when we go to the stoma section. I have spent in the past 2 years roughly 150 days in hospital. That includes 73 consecutive days at hospital following the emergency surgery. Long story short, my entire digestive system shut down, my stomach went to sleep, my bowel went to sleep. I was nil by mouth for over 4 weeks. I had to be fed via a bag that was plumbed into my arm. I dropped 40 kilos so far in the year and a bit since I've been back home from that long stay in hospital. I have regained approximately 30 kilos. I probably don't want to gain any more than that. So I just need to stay stable where I am at the moment. Following both surgeries, so the planned one back in November of 2022 and the emergency one in January of 2023, when I did eventually leave the hospital after each stay, I was on a walking stick for about a month after each surgery because I simply could not walk properly and I was not stable. After the emergency surgery, I actually had to relearn how to walk, so that was pretty scary. I was in a wheelchair for a little while. My brother would have to push me around the hospital when I was finally allowed out of bed. I'll put up a few photos during this video so that you can see that. As I mentioned, I've got 2 stomas. Normally with bowel cancer specifically, you would either have an ileostomy or the colostomy. It's not very common to have both, but that was due to the emergency situation that I referred to earlier. One of the complications that happens from having such extensive surgery like what I've had is that you can develop what is called a perianal abscess. It's basically something that grows and forms in the void where your guts are taken out. Your body's just basically trying to fill that space. So that's something that I'm managing at the moment with the help of the nurses at my hospital. And it is slowly growing, so when I'm well enough for more surgery, that is a planned thing that we will be doing. But I've been home for 14 and a half months now since I came home from hospital, and I'm still not ready health-wise for more surgery. At the moment, I am an advocate for Bowel Cancer Australia. They are the leading organisation to help with the funding, support and everything to do with bowel cancer here where I am. And I'm also a stoma mentor for other stoma patients in our area of Western Sydney. So during these mini-series, there will be several episodes where we talk about specific topics and points of interest for bowel cancer. As a patient, I'm not a doctor, so this is all to do with my experience of bowel cancer, not only personally for myself, but other people that I've gotten to know through the past 2 years, through the different support groups, but also at the hospital as well, when I've gone to the cancer clinic, or when I was in the ward, especially for that second surgery. I got to meet a few different people. It's great if you discuss these kind of topics that we'll go through with your family, your friends, your carer, and if there's any topics raised, you might want to talk to your doctor. Again, I'm not a professional. I am simply a patient who has gone through this so far. I still need to have more surgery. I still need to do more chemotherapy. Once all these things are done, every 6 months there will be scans. Every 12 months, there will be visits to my specialist so that they can monitor my situation and make sure that I stay as healthy as possible despite everything that has happened already. So what's the point of this? So we're going to be talking about bowel cancer. What is bowel cancer? What are the symptoms of bowel cancer? What do you need to look out for? Because you might be having problems going to the toilet, you might be getting very tired, you might be having low iron levels. I have very low iron. I'm on an iron supplement at the moment indefinitely. What are the facts and the risk factors for bowel cancer? Is it family history? I have a family history, as I mentioned. My uncle has had bowel cancer, my grandfather has had bowel cancer, and my grandfather's siblings, most of them also had bowel cancer, but again, I don't have the gene for it. It was spontaneous for me. It's an unfortunate coincidence. We're going to talk about bowel cancer screening. So here in Australia, there is an at-home bowel testing kit, and the great thing is it was previously reserved for those who were aged 50 and above. Through advocacy with Bowel Cancer Australia, they have been able to bring that down to 45. It's an opt-in program, but hopefully it would be great if anyone could have access to that whenever they needed. because bowel cancer is the leading killer of young people here in Australia, aged between 25 and 44. So we're going to talk about how is it diagnosed. So there are different stages of cancer, same as any other cancer, stage 1, 2, 3, 4. It all depends on how far the cancer has progressed before it's discovered and while it's being treated before it could potentially be removed, hopefully, from the body. We're going to talk about the prognosis. Again, that depends on what stage it's discovered and the treatment plan that is followed. We'll talk about treatment, the side effects of treatment, the complications of treatment. There are a wide range of medicines available. There is a wide range of surgical options available. They all have side effects. They all have complications. If your doctor says to you, there'll be no side effects, well, you need to get a second opinion. If you talk to someone and they have not had at least one complication, they're not telling you the full story. Everything has a side effect. Everything has some form of complication potential to happen. We'll talk about what support is available. Obviously, I'm here in Australia, so we'll talk about the support options here available in Australia, but there are very similar support networks around the whole world. The number one support for me has been my family, my friends, and the wider cancer community that I've started to get to become a part of over the past 2 years. Without the support of my family, without the support of my friends, without the support of other people in that cancer community, I wouldn't be able to cope. It's that simple. We'll briefly touch on what research is being done. Every country is different, but there's similar research projects happening. And we'll also talk about how to reduce your chances of bowel cancer development. I won't go too far into that right now. So make sure you speak to a medical professional if you have any concerns with your health. If you think you have something, do not go to Dr. Google. Dr. Google will tell you everything that is wrong, and it won't be specific to you. You need to have tests done, whether it's blood test, a scope such as a colonoscopy or a gastroscopy. You need to do proper tests with a proper medical professional because Google will only tell you so much. Thank you for watching. Please share this with your family, your friends, your carers, anyone who you think might be interested in knowing a bit more about bowel cancer, because it is a very important topic. Having cancer is shit. Okay? There is no good cancer. There's no such thing as getting it early to deal with it properly. Once you have cancer, you have cancer. It's not a little bit of cancer. It's not like you've fallen over and scratched your leg or something. When you are diagnosed with cancer, it is shit. And it is a very difficult process. It is not a sprint to the finish line. Okay? For my situation, it is a marathon and I don't have a finish line. All cancer is shit. You have to learn to deal with it. And if that means talking to someone, talk to someone. If that means, getting a hobby or something to take your mind off it, get a hobby. Try and do a little activity here and there every day so you have that break of thinking about having cancer. It is important that you do this. Okay? Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. There's a bell thing where you can get notifications when another video is uploaded. Hopefully I'll do this on a weekly or a fortnightly basis, depending on how we go with uploading and filming. Please post the comments, give me some feedback. If it's just something that you like, let me know. If there's something that you might have a question about, I can answer it from my personal experience. Obviously I'm not a doctor, but I can talk about my experiences. And again, thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.